Problem gambling is a serious issue, continues to be a serious issue here in Victoria. By the government's own estimates, there are at least 57,000 people who have gambling problems in Victoria. It's about 2% of the adult population, but with pokies it gets even more severe. Of people who regularly play the pokies about once a week, it's about 1 in 6 people have a gambling problem, and there are estimates saying that it could be up to one in every second person inside a gambling venue at any one time has a gambling problem. Gambling problems have a significant effect on those who are impacted by them. In some cases it can result in marriage breakdown, and an example of that was a woman, Lynn Black, 41, who was assisted by Broadmeadows Uniting Care. She lost $100,000 in 3 years playing the pokies, and that cost her marriage and her family home, and she was a mother of 3. So she's now back on the track, but there are many more people with gambling problems who we still need to help. Obviously it leads to financial problems for people, it can lead to the loss of their housing. There's 1 in 8 people who are in counselling for problem gambling say that there's been domestic violence in their family as a result of their gambling problem, and in some of the most severe cases it can lead to suicide. The Interchurch Gambling Task Force is a task force that was set up by the heads of churches back in 1996. Its role was to look at the government's growing dependence on gambling revenue and look at the social and economic impacts on Victoria from gambling, and it works to lobby government and the community towards minimising the harm from gambling and reducing dependence on gambling as a revenue base for Victoria. Pressures put on the Victorian Government by the Interchurch Gambling Task Force to try and reduce the harm caused by gambling, particularly pokies in our community, through direct lobbying of government and talking with government, and where that doesn't deliver results, there's also pressure put on through the media and also through working with churches on the ground in electorates, visiting their local MPs and lobbying directly for measures to reduce the harm that pokies are causing in our community. The Uniting Church has been an active participant in the Interchurch Gambling Task Force in terms of lobbying, in terms of collecting signatures on petitions, getting people to write letters, getting people to visit their MPs, being present in the media. I'm currently the chair of the Interchurch Gambling Task Force, so I'm the Uniting Church representative on the Interchurch Gambling Task Force, and I'm currently chair, having taken over from the previous chair who was a representative of the Salvation Army. So we've been a very active player in the Interchurch Gambling Task Force. Local congregations can look to write letters to the state government over problem gambling and support the activities of the Interchurch Gambling Task Force. They can visit their local Member of Parliament and make sure the Member of Parliament knows that problem gambling is still an issue of concern to the broader Victorian community, and they can engage in campaigns that we run as the Interchurch Gambling Task Force. So for example, at the moment we're still collecting information about where automatic teller machines are located in venues, with a view to trying to get those automatic teller machines out of venues, because they provide a ready access to cash and are shown to be linked to facilitating problem gambling in Victoria.